All right, Texans get the win against the Patriots. They avoid a trap, and they do so in pretty dominant fashion. If you look at the score, I do think there's some things that perhaps they'll want to fix, but this was pretty much um, a game that was in hand. It never felt like it was out of hand. The Texans could have eliminated any doubt. It seems like they had a lot of opportunities with that, but did not happen. And they ended up finishing pretty strong, actually, against this Patriots team. And I thought Drake Maye was pretty good today. I thought Drake Maye had a pretty solid performance for a rookie making his first start against the Texans defense. I thought he was good. I thought he was fine. It is the Locker Room post game show. I am Landry Locker. You can see me right here, 10:30 p.m. You can also see me in the Monday through Friday morning frame with SNL with Cody Stutes. We didn't play down to New England level. We played up to our level. I would agree with that. I would think I would 100% agree with that when it comes to how the Texans performed in this game. I think one thing is very, very clear. Joe Mixon is a must. Joe Mixon is someone that you need on this team. I think Joe Mixon, not only the obvious production, the 13 carries, 102 yards, couple receptions. He only touched the ball 15 times and had 130 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then the 2 times that we've seen Joe Mixon play a complete game, it's been all pro caliber ball by him. But I think from a toughness and a mindset standpoint, Joe Mixon also brings a lot to this squad. You saw Joe Mixon. If you followed along here, when I asked him about holding it down for Nico, like Nico held it down for him when he was out, and Joe Mixon just flat out said, I'm going to hold it down no matter what. Kind of a little bit of a toughness, battle tested, close to win a Super Bowl with Cincinnati, chip on his shoulder, hardo for lack of a better term. But Joe Mixon did his thing. Joe Mixon takes this team to a completely different level. Joe Mixon is the straw that stirs the drink when it comes to the toughness and the mindset. And I think there's other guys that add to it. I think Stefon Diggs adds to it, but you can only do so much when you have so many other weapons that CJ Stroud has to get the ball to. Whenever Diggs is called upon, Diggs gets the job done. But when it comes to trying to go from good to great, when it comes to avoiding trap games and avoiding like a natural letdown that happens with teams all around the NFL, I think Joe Mixon is the straw that stirs the drink. Shout out to Reggie Jackson. I know he said he was the straw that stirred the drink in New York. I think that he is the straw that stirs the drink here, Joe Mixon. He just adds it to a whole new level. He takes it to a whole new level. Also saw Dameon Pierce didn't have much going on, but Dameon Pierce was able to get the touchdown at the end. I thought it was nice to get to see Dameon Pierce. You at least try to get him going. I actually said it after the Texans went up 20 points. You try to get Dameon Pierce going and see if you can get someone not named Joe Mixon effectively running the football. And that was one way to do it for Dameon Pierce. I'm not ready to say that this is a good rushing team. Matter of fact, you take away the 113 yards, and I know people are going to do this. I can already hear Cody Stutes doing this, and he'll probably do it on SNL tomorrow. But that's 113 yards between 2 carries. Outside of that, you only had 79 yards on 26 carries rushing the ball. So I would assume that's going to come up. I would assume that's going to be brought up. But at the end of the day, they were able to bust open those runs, and it goes in the stats. But I do think that's a valid point that 113 of your rushing yards, 113 of your 192 came on 2 carries. That's just kind of the glass half empty type of vibe. Steve, Ultimate Fan, says that Will Anderson looked great. Absolutely did. Will Anderson had 3 sacks, and he didn't need advanced stats today. None of that pressure rate, nothing like that. Basically, advanced D's is what Will Anderson said in this game. He was good. He's always close, but he was good here. Danielle Hunter also had the strip sack. So you saw the guys on the edge that are going to have to pick up the load with the absence of Kamari Lassiter and Jimmy Ward, and they ended up taking care of business and doing that. And I think that was I think that was another good thing to see Will Anderson finally get some statistical production. No Nico, no problem. We saw Tank Dell. Tank Dell had it going early. I actually thought it was kind of an underrated play. I don't think it's one that we're going to point to. But late in the game, when New England cut the lead to 13 after Drake May's third touchdown, there was a third down, and CJ Stroud found Tank Dell, and that kind of smoothed things over a little bit. Like any like long shots, last ditch effort, because immediately after that, Pierce scored the touchdown, and that was the FU touchdown. But I thought Tank Dell was solid today. You could tell he was playing with a lot of confidence. You could tell he was playing with a lot of fire. You kind of tell that the whole team was playing with a lot of confidence and fire. Like if D'Amico Ryan's message was let's not go sleepwalk and let's not sleep, and we talked about sleeping on New England. If his message was don't sleep on the New England Patriots and let's bring elite energy, he got it. And he got through to his team in a big way, because not only were these guys making plays, you had Joe Mixon out there, and that's just normal for Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon was screaming after his first carry because he was just happy to be out there. You had Tank Dell. You could tell Tank Dell was excited. Stefon Diggs got a taunting penalty, so he was extremely excited. You could see that, and you could just see this team play with a lot of energy. And I know it gets looked at, and it naturally. I do it. A lot of us do it. But you look at this game and you say, well, it's New England. They suck. They're not good. This isn't, it's not like Tom Brady's there. This is one of the worst teams in the NFL and all that. And that's true. But these are the games where you get caught sleeping. There's a reason that the betting line went from 7 to 6.5, and then to where you could actually get even money for this. So you could get even money, which is incredible odds for a favorite like the Texans 4-1 against a team like New England. So I thought that D'Amico Ryans did a really good job of having his team play with a hell of a lot of energy. I thought it was really, 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 really good. But yeah, 6.86 yards per carry today. That is true. I'm telling you, it's going to come. The 113 on 2 carries. I never know how you punish that. Averages are averages. Maybe the 2-yard run is part of the reason that you were able to get the 57-yard run. So just dismissing that, I know it'll happen. And I know that, on the surface outside those 2 runs, it didn't feel like the Texans were running the ball well, but that's what's going to happen. It's kind of like in baseball. It drives me nuts in baseball, where a pitcher will get shelled and allow 7 runs. And then you'll have the manager, well, it was just 3 pitches. Yeah, it was just 3 pitches. The 3 pitches that went into the upper deck. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that run game. I don't think all problems are solved. Statistically, it looks really, really good. With Joe Mixon, it looks a hell of a lot better. But there's probably some value with some of those short runs to where you're able to bust one open. So I didn't look at this game and feel like there was like a huge gray area in the run game. I feel the exact same way about the run game as I did heading into this game. And maybe probably a little bit more encouraged, to be honest with you. But I feel like it's a run game that, to be really, really good, is dependent on Joe Mixon. And outside of that, you got to figure out what to do around him. We did see Dameon Pierce find the end zone. Maybe that gets him going. Be sure to sack the like button. Yeah. Twister's right. Go ahead and sack the like button for sure. But yeah, I thought it was a solid performance by the Texans. Let's go through the biggest plays of the game. Be sure to swarm the like button. Right off the top, the Texans, last week they had one of the worst opening drives that I think I've ever seen in my entire life. The 3-and-out that was capped off with a Dare Gumbawale draw on 3rd and long. This week it was about as good of an opening drive as you could have. You had Schultz move the chains. Then you had Dell move the chains, 19-yard reception. You had Diggs move the chains, I think 10-yard reception. Then on 3rd and goal, you got the flag. They called pass interference. Looked like it probably should have been a hold call on whoever was guarding Schultz. Then Mixon has like the awkward, I pushed the wrong button, leap, comes up short of the end zone. he gets stuffed, and then you have a Tank Dell touchdown. So Tank Dell stepping up in the absence of Nico Collins. Uh, he gets a touchdown. Immediately, New England looks terrible. New England looks awful. Drake Maye throws it out of bounds. You kind of wonder, okay, is this going to be an opportunity for the Texans to perhaps run away with that ball game? You have the pass interference, which they were complaining about. Then Steven Sims out of the doghouse. Nice little 19-yard punt return after the Patriots drive. So Steven Sims with Robert Woods out gets an opportunity. And then CJ Stroud finds Joe Mixon for a touchdown touchdown. Yes, for after Tank Dell moved the chains again. You could see him yelling. And then you had CJ Stroud sliding into the red zone. Perfect job starting the slide. And then the Joe Mixon receiving TD makes it 14-0. So I'm going to ask the question because I know he's the favorite target of a lot of people. I'm going to ask the question. Was Bobby in his bag or not the first two drives? First two drives. Because I know that there's a lot of Slowick distaste. I get it. The inability to run the ball is frustrating. But was Bobby Slowick in his bag or not the first two drives? That's my question. They look good. They look really good. Now, that didn't last the entire first half. But I'm just talking about the two drives. First two, yes. 100%. First two drives. So yes, he was in his bag. So people were admitting it. Okay. So then on the second New England drive, and I thought this was kind of an opportunity for the Texans. Kalen Bolick, he intercepted a pass, took it inside the 30, and immediately you're looking at a 3-possession lead early in the second quarter. Early in the second quarter, you're looking at a 3-possession lead. And for me, watching this game, the entire duration of the game, I felt like a 3-possession lead would end this game. Felt like that was a wrap. Well, the Texans did not want a 3-possession lead because Ka'imi Fairbairn, this was the second time he'd been named Special Teams Player of the Week, and the second time the game after that, he misses the field goal. He misses a 40-yarder. First time that I think he'd missed one inside that range I think they said 50 straight attempts. A field goal closer than 50, I think was what they said. But the 40-yarder, it gives New England a little bit of life. Just a little bit of life, just a tad. But then Drake Maye, he runs for 10, and then Will Anderson's sack gets New England off of the field. And then it looks like the Texans, okay, do you want the 3-possession lead that I mentioned or not? Do you want that or not? Joe Mixon did, because Joe Mixon goes 59 yards. This was the Texans' first run over 20 yards on the season. Joe Mixon goes to the sidelines. Then, though, and a lot of people are upset about this. One of the comments is Dalton Schultz even good? Is Dalton Schultz worth a damn at tight end? Is the question. And that does seem to be. It does kind of seem like the frustration has shifted from Bobby Slowick to Dalton Schultz. Small sample size, maybe. Not really. A lot of people don't have any complaints after this game. You beat the Patriots by 20. You're 5-1. You're in good position in the division. But it does kind of feel like the frustration has gone from the frustrated portion has gone from Bobby Slowick to Dalton Schultz. And Dalton Schultz, CJ kind of throws it up, gives Schultz an opportunity to perhaps make a play. That does not happen. Stroud gets intercepted in the end zone. Another chance at life for the Patriots. So you had them 14-0, 17-point lead. They're not overcoming. 17 or 21. That's wiped away with the Schultz thing. So I'm asking y'all, because I saw this a lot on the internet. I'm not one of these people who just scrolls through Twitter and says, oh, people are saying, or I see a lot of you. Are you mad at Schultz for the effort on the interception? I've said this 100 times. I like Dalton Schultz. If you're a body language guy, though, you're not going to be blown away by Dalton Schultz. It's a very cool, really not a fluid style of play. It's solid, it's reliable, but it's not anything explosive. It's not dynamic, but it's good. But whenever something goes wrong, if you're a body language guy, Dalton Schultz is the easy guy to point to. It never fails. All the way up 45. This is the one thing that I think Houston and Dallas can agree on. And I was at Texas OU this week. I just got back in town this morning. But the one thing I can say, if I would have driven from 45 to here, and I would have stopped at every gas station and talked to every Cowboys and Texans fan, they would all say that they did not like Dalton Schultz body language, assuming that they're body language folks. That seems to be kind of a thing. See, Schultz had me frustrated. Schultz looks injured. What's wrong with Schultz? Schultz runs like a ballerina. See, I'm not making it up. Dalton Schultz is regressing. Schultz dropped the TD that gave away the interception. Reliable. Dude has bricks for hands. He was catching everything last year. Now he doesn't seem to be able to catch much at all. He had some drops last year. I think CJ's muscle memory is still throwing to Nico when he targets Schultz. Oh my gosh. Absolutely about Schultz. So yeah, people are mad at Dalton Schultz. That's the new that's the new target of the frustration of the not the majority, but there's a nice little chunk of folks that are upset at Dalton Schultz. Did y'all notice that there was a lot of flag begging from the New England crowd? It was kind of interesting. I do think there were a couple calls that didn't go their way, but the football IQ in New England when it came to the boos. I don't know if fans are going to boo all calls, but it wasn't very high. There was a lot of flag begging going on in New England. So we talked about that situation that the Texans had to run away with the game after scoring on the first two drives and starting out their third drive inside the 30-yard line. The Texans went scoreless on their final four drives of the first half. Final four drives, the Texans go scoreless. You have a missed field goal, you have an interception in the end zone, and you have an opportunity for New England to kind of linger. Shout out to James Franco and Pineapple Express. But you give them a chance to kind of linger, and they did. Because Derek Stingley gets burned for a touchdown right at the end of the first half. That makes it 14-7, and New England has the ball. This was one of the most blah 14-7 halftime leads that I can remember. You were covering in the first half. Like the total point spread, you were covering it. And it felt like, man, that was not a very good half of football. That's a good thing for the Texans. That's just another sign of a good squad. So you had a 14-7 lead, and it felt a little bit disappointed. Christopher says, enough about Schultz. The defense showed up and showed out. There you go. We'll move on from that. Rose says, hit the like button. I think that's a good suggestion. Go ahead and do that. So we get to the second half. 14-7 halftime lead. Didn't feel awesome. Daniil Hunter with the strip sack right off the top, slowing down any Patriots hope. And that gives the Texans the ball inside the 15-yard line. And CJ Stroud. Stefon Diggs is a Bills killer or a Patriots killer. And that apparently travels from Buffalo to Houston. He owns the Patriots. That's Stefon Diggs fella. And the Texans took a 21-7 lead. So I kind of want to give this guy a shout out because young Costa with the super chat, he's swarming.
Swarm.
Getting married tomorrow. Glad to be in the locker room talking about a blowout. That Pierce run had me hyped. Congratulations on the marriage, my friend. And congratulations. Are you going to the courthouse or are you having an actual wedding My wife was fortunate to let me go to the courthouse. It was great. Great. Knocked it out. Didn't have to deal with any drama. But congrats on getting married. Is this your first marriage, my friend? I'm almost scared to ask. Courthouse or actual Monday wedding? Monday wedding would be savage, dude. But much respect to you. Real wedding. Okay, going on the Monday. I feel you on that. There you go. Someone says don't do it. Don't listen to him. Do what you got to do. That cold beer tastes better after a dub. That's a fact. Nothing wrong with a little cold beer. But shout out to Costa getting married. So I wanted to shout this dude out. And it is the Locker Room post-game show. I am Landry Locker. We're probably going to react to what D'Amico and CJ say in a separate video. Got some weird stuff going on right now from just getting back from Dallas. So we're going to react to that in a separate video that'll probably drop tomorrow. And that's going to be a fun one. Reacting to the post-game press conference of both D'Amico and CJ Stroud. So be on the lookout for that one. We'll probably drop that one tonight at we'll do it before kickoff of the before kickoff of the Sunday night game. But I wanted to shout out. We talked about Tank Dell being rowdy. We talked about Mixon being rowdy. Will Anderson was rowdy. And there was a lot of energy on the field. I don't know what Mario Edwards did at halftime of this, but that dude came out like a damn savage. I don't know if someone said something to him. I don't know if he just kind of wasn't pleased that they were up 14-7. But I thought just even after this, and he recovers the fumble, Mario Edwards was out there just knocking dudes' blocks off and getting really, really excited and really, really pumped out there on the field. Mario Edwards ended the day with 8 tackles. And you can feel those tackles, man. D'Amico's talked about, you want to really be physical and make them feel those tackles. The Mario Edwards, man, Will Anderson finished with 8 tackles. He had the 3 sacks. We expect that from Will Anderson. Mario Edwards has been in the league for a decade. Just kind of had put together a solid career. Didn't know what the hell he was going to be when he got here. Had an excellent camp. You're going to get, and this is why I'm shouting him out, because what Mario Edwards has given you 6 weeks into this season, and you're 5-1, you're going to get Nico Autry back, and most likely that impacts Mario Edwards' role. We'll still see him on the field. We'll still see him rotating, and maybe we'll still see him making plays. But the way that he held it down, we talk about holding it down for Nico. We talk about, Lassiter getting hurt and D'Angelo Ross going in there. Mario Edwards held it down for 6 weeks for one of the big acquisitions of the offseason in Nico Autry. And you go back to when this happened, when Nico Autry went down. And this is kind of symbolic. I know Mario Edwards plays all through the defensive line. But you go to that day when it happened. When you go into the Texans practice every day, they hand you a roster. They hand you a paper roster. And that roster is updated. And if someone goes on injured reserve, a lot of times you'll see me take a picture of it. If someone goes on IR. If someone goes on injured reserve, their name goes there. Acquisitions, all that type of stuff. When we found out that Nico Autry was going to be suspended, moments before that, there was a change on that roster where Mario Edwards was listed as a DT after being listed as a DE all the way through camp. Now, he probably maybe would have played that position anyways, but I think that is symbolic of the job Mario Edwards did filling the void for Nico Autry. So I just want to shout out Mario Edwards and say, no matter what happens from this point forward, my friend, we always have these first 6 games because it was a lovely job of next man up. So shout out to you, my friend. You make me feel old as hell because I remember watching your dad, but you know what? You look damn good out there and you held it down for this team. And you might still hold it down. But without Nico Autry, a lot of people were concerned about depth on the D-line. Mario Edwards held it down. Does Autry improve the defense next week? Absolutely. And he's a guy that you can use in spot duty. But if he's what he was last year and he's coming off a career high in sacks, double digits, yes. Absolutely. Is he coming back next week? I wouldn't bet against it. Wouldn't bet against it at all. Little scary moment with Aziz Al-Shire. He had the injury, but I mean he appears a little bit later on this. So the Texans, they get the ball back after that. They finally get that 3-possession lead. Finally, Fairbairn with a 39-yard field goal to make it 24-7. Then we talked about a Kalen Bullock interception. What about a Kalen Bullock fumble recovery? Aziz Al-Shire with just a Manny Pacquiao right there to the football. Did I go Madden there? Don't know. And then the recovery by Bullock. Texans get the ball back. Don't put any points up. Then you have a holy bleep moment. I don't know how he caught this. Eric Murray. He had a 300-pounder basically pushing him backwards, and somehow he was able to reach around. Not that type of reach around, but he was able to reach around him and intercept the pass. I thought that was impressive by Eric Murray. And then you had kind of the FU touchdown. Joe Mixon into the game. Joe Mixon around the corner, touchdown. That was all you saw from Joe Mixon. 15 touches was enough. 20-point lead, courtesy of what Joe Mixon did get a little bit more interesting. We'll get to in a sec. But the Joe Mixon touchdown was where you kind of knew, okay, they're up 20 points. You feel pretty good. But shortly after that, Drake Maye. Could I interest you in a stat? Jacoby Brissett for the New England Patriots this year. He had 2 touchdown passes. Drake Maye today, he had 3 touchdown passes. I thought the kid looked good. I thought he looked solid. And I know New England people were freaking out. Oh my God, how do you put him out there? And there were some moments where he was kind of having to run for his life, and there was, some bad throws. But I thought the kid looked good. I'll be honest. I'll give Drake Maye his flowers. This rookie quarterback class, they've looked pretty good early on. And I think at the very least, I don't know that you're like pumped about it if you're New England, but it's definitely better to watch Drake Maye than it is Jacoby Brissett, and he's the superior quarterback. So there's that. But he got the touchdown, which was huge. And then the Texans actually trying to extend the drive because they were up 13 points. Patriots actually forced a 3rd down, and it could have been an interesting situation, but Tank Dell, massive catch. At the very least, it kills 2 more minutes. So any like long shot 2-possession lead, it kind of gets eliminated. Tank Dell made some big plays. That was huge. That was really, really huge, especially with the 13-point lead and maybe an ounce of life for New England if you don't convert on that 3rd down. But Tank Dell makes the catch. He points, and then Dameon Pierce comes in, 54-yard touchdown. Looked like he could have been down at the 1. But they called it a touchdown. I would have given him the ball at the 1 if he didn't get in, probably 4 times, just because he kind of deserved it. And then he got there. Yeah, he wasn't 300 pounds. It was a tight end. Yeah, it was I exaggerated a little, probably like 230. I don't know what he is. How big is Hooper? I don't know. Well, actually, guy in here. He's fighting him. Austin Hooper, height and weight. Get that for me. I'm sure you got it. Actually, you probably got it in your wallet next to his picture. Let's see. Austin. Oh yeah, it was Austin Hooper. He's 254. I mean, he's 6'4", 254. Sorry, I said 300-pounder. My bad. Not 300. 254. There you go. Thank you, Gunner, for your contribution to the show. Dameon Pierce, 54-yard TD makes it 41-21. And then you had the bench cleared after the Will Anderson 3rd sack. After that, you saw Davis Mills. You saw all of the backups, and the Texans take care of business. And that's where we're at. SNL Reaction Monday tomorrow. A lot of people asking about Nico Autry. We'll see. It's been a long week from Texas OU to here to the post-game show. Again, separate video of the reaction to what CJ Stroud and what D'Amico Ryans have to say, dropping later tonight. 8 a.m. is when SNL Reaction Monday with myself and Cody Stutes is going to happen. You can watch that every Monday through Friday and listen to it as well on all podcast platforms. So download that. We got you covered. Mr. High says that high grade
marijuana called Kush on the streets. Did you know what that was?
tastes a lot better with a blowout win. I believe you. Appreciate y'all for coming through. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to like. Be sure to ride along. Thanks for participating in another post game show. It's been a long weekend. Might get me a nap in. Been a lot of ground made up. Very little sleep. Regardless, though, always remember when it comes to this Texan stuff, we're always in it together. Appreciate y'all for coming through. I'm Landry Locker.